Do you also have a personal problem that you would like to discuss with Bertolt in the podcast? We would love to have you as our guest. Check out the link in the show notes of this episode for more info. And who knows, we will see each other in the studio.
Welcome to the Flip Thinking Podcast. In this podcast, you'll listen to intimate conversations between Bertolt Gunster and his guests. Together, they'll explore the guest's personal problem and try to make it feel lighter or make it disappear altogether. This can be achieved in different ways. Sometimes they can simply solve the problem, but more often than not, they'll find that they have to let go of expectations or views they hold about themselves. At other times, they can only observe the fact that there is a problem without judging it. And in some cases, they can flip think the problem.
Well, good morning. It's morning. It's a Wednesday in Utrecht.
Morning.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
What's your name, and can you tell me something about yourself?
Yes, my name is Daisy.
Welcome, Daisy. Yeah.
Thank you. And I am living in Brabant in a small village together with my boyfriend as of 7 years now. I'm quite adventurous, so I have a horse. I really like traveling. I like doing volunteer work a lot. So yeah.
Something about your age, if I may ask.
Oh yeah, that's also quite important. 37, almost 38 in a few months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Almost 38. This is what children say. I'm 6, but I'm almost 7. I'm almost 7.
Yeah, but now it's a little bit different. It's like, oh no, I'm almost
older,
38.
Right. Oh, I'm 65. I'm almost 66. Yeah. Okay. Well, this is about who you are, about you, but then about the topic. What brings you here? What's your problem?
Yeah. So there's sometimes I can be a little bit undecisive. It's not always the case, but especially when it comes to do I want to have a child or not.
Ooh.
And it has been a big problem.
But that's a life choice, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's also something that you cannot come back from. So at a certain age, you cannot reproduce anymore. But also when you choose to take a chance or take a leap of faith and you go for it and you are eventually feeling that it's not your life choice that you should have made, then you cannot return it as well because there's no return ticket.
No,
so
there are no alternatives. It's either a child or not a child.
Yeah.
And hopefully, if you choose to have a child, hopefully it will work out fine.
Yeah.
Which is also not that sure.
No, because you don't know what kind of child you will get, if it's gonna have health problems. So I know now that I like my life, I'm happy. Besides of this problem then. But other than that, I'm really happy. I like that my life is carefree. I like that I'm able to travel if I want to travel. So I have a lot of options still. But yeah, at a certain age, being almost 38, you need to make a decision. So yeah, and what's also not helping is that my boyfriend really does want to have children. So in the beginning...
He does.
Yeah.
He does want to have children.
It's a very strong wish for him. Yeah.
So he's very decisive, wanting to be a father.
Yeah, for him it's he's 100% certain.
Oh yeah.
So that's also difficult. Yeah.
And you have been together for 7 years.
Yeah.
You said so. And so was he always this decisive, wanting to be a father?
Yeah, and the strange thing is that before him, I never wanted to have children. Maybe with my former boyfriend, I had 2 weeks probably. Where I felt rumbling ovaries. Yeah. Like, oh, wow, what is this feeling? But then it went away. And when I met my boyfriend, I think because of hormonal reactions on being in love, for a year, I thought I wanted to have a child. And I was very surprised by this feeling because apart from the 2 weeks, I never felt it. So I thought, okay, well, apparently... this is it. This is what everyone is feeling.
My body is giving me instructions. Become a mother.
Yeah, I even wanted to have 2 of them, and I was thinking of names already. And then we bought a house, and we had to pay mortgage, and we moved in together, and it went away completely. So I was like, okay, shit.
Can you tell me something about how that it went away completely? Do you have words for this?
I think maybe because it was less carefree because of the mortgage. So, if you want to travel for, let's say, 6 months, if you rent, you can just go away, give it up, and you can continue traveling. But if you have a house, you, of course, need to pay mortgage. So there's a lot more to take care of. And also, if there's a leakage, for example, if there's some damage to the house, you need to take care of it. So I think it was really the feeling of leaving the city center and really changing my life already that made me feel, trapped in a way. And I think that's why my rumbling ovaries went quiet. Yeah.
And although some other factors might be responsible for this, one thing is sure, your deep wish or your wish, it wasn't that deep. It was, in a way, it was temporarily always, but it vanished. It went away, right?
Yeah, and now I think for 6 years, I think maybe the majority of the time I feel that I don't want to take the risk because it's a big risk. And I think it's better to continue your life without having children, maybe regret that, than to regret having a child, because then your child is also involved. And I think that's maybe
this sounds all quite rational, but these decisions aren't that rational. It's a kind of an impulse or an intuitive choice.
Yeah.
If you buy a house, there's some rationality there. Do I have the money? But having a child or not having a child, these are such enormous and massive choices. It's very difficult to make them by logic or rationality.
Yeah, and I think maybe
you
that's
have
also what I do.
Too, right?
I'm really overthinking it. And if you are rationally thinking about having children or not, you are not going to do it because
you'll never make a decision because the decision is too complicated.
Yeah.
It'll always be a guess, a step in the dark, a jump into a kind of whatever,
Yeah.
Now, before we get into your experiences and feelings and choices, I saw your boyfriend. He wants to be a father.
Yeah.
If you would decide, I don't want to have children, would that be fine for him? Would he stay with you or would he leave you?
I think it will be...
Is he clear? Are you clear on this, both of you?
No. But to be honest, I think it will be at the expense of my relationship. Because he is still with me. And in a way, I'm also surprised that he's still with me, to be honest. And at the moment, he's really thinking about what he wants to do with his life. If I stick to not wanting to have children. And to be honest, I told him that I didn't want to have children because I also didn't want to string him along.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to give him hope if there maybe isn't any hope. So I wanted to give him
you were very
an answer.
Clear on this.
Yeah, so I told him eventually I don't want to have children, even though I'm still not sure, but I just wanted to give him an answer. So now he is thinking about if he wants to continue the relationship or not because of me not wanting to have children. And he still doesn't know what to do because he also doesn't want to end the relationship. But I can see that he's really struggling with it because his wish is very strong. So he didn't make the decision yet. But to be honest, if I would bet on it, then I would definitely bet on him going away eventually. Yeah.
Imagine that he would be very clear on not wanting to have children.
Yeah.
Can you visualize how this would influence you?
That's difficult because on one way it feels as if I'm standing at a crossroads. So I can take the less traveled path, which feels exciting, to be honest, as well, because I can still travel. I would definitely go back to Africa for volunteer work. I've done that for 10 weeks already, and it was amazing. So I can see that road, and I feel kind of happy about it as well. But at the same time, it also feels like a superficial kind of life, a shallow life. I'm not saying that if you don't have children, you are superficial.
No, but it's about you. It's not about.
Yeah,
it's not about your judgment of people. About you, right?
It's somehow a feeling that I have, and if I go into the other direction, it feels like choosing for hope, maybe also for love. So I think that also when you have a child, you can look at the world through the eyes of your child. I think that's very, very beautiful, and of course, it also is bringing a lot of joy. But I also feel trapped. in a way. So I'm also
if
like,
the child is
oh
there,
my God, it's like
it's
a
not
prison.
like it's not like a Christmas tree.
No.
You bring it to your house, and when Christmas is over, you put it back, or you burn it and put it in the woods. No, a child will stay there forever.
Yeah. And that's also if I think about that, it feels like a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow.
So a very complicated decision to make. And whatever decision you make, if you choose A, B doesn't come to life, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So, and by rationality, I have the assumption you won't be able to make this choice. It will, whatever you choose, it will be a guess.
Yeah.
Now I'm talking to you being 37, right?
Yeah.
Now imagine you are 68, 70. Let's say 70. Imagine you're 70 right now, sitting here on this table next to yourself.
Yeah.
What would you advise your 37-year-old self, if you were 70, to do right now? Whatever the choices might be, what kind of criteria would the 70-year-old give to you?
Difficult in a way, because I like having options. That's also my thing.
So you tell your 70-year-old, hello, 70-year-old, I want to have the options. I want to have options in life.
And I want to postpone making the decision.
Yeah. So I'm postponing.
Yeah.
So now what would your 70-year-old self advise yourself, seeing yourself, observing yourself, postponing a decision?
Do not postpone it any longer. Really take time for it to think it over. And when making the decision, try to stick with it and find your peace with it. And that's exactly what I find difficult.
Then you will be panicking. I don't know what decision to make.
Yeah.
I can't be at ease, whatever decision. Now, what would your 70-year-old advise you then?
Yeah, that's a very good question.
But the 70-year-old knows. When you're 70, you know. Then you can look back at whatever you choose.
Yeah.
There will be a choice. There will be a life. Your life will have a kind of story.
Yeah.
Now, whatever you choose, you will make a choice, because not choosing and postponing is a choice. Now, if you postpone for 2, 3, 4 years, you won't be able to become mother at all, right?
Yeah.
So postponing is a choice too. What would you 70-year-old advise you in this panicking, postponing period of your life?
Whatever you do, make sure there's still adventure in your life, and you're not like, even if I do decide I want to try to have a child, to not have a very boring life, but still be yourself and still do whatever your heart is telling you to do. But that's maybe the thing that I find difficult. To what extent am I still able to do what I love to do? Because to be honest, my life is already full. So I have a lot of things with my horse, which is, of course, taking a lot of time, traveling, volunteer work. So there's hardly any time left for a child. So I'm also wondering, and that's the big question that my boyfriend is always asking me, what will you give up? And I'm like, giving up? I don't want to give up any of the 3 things that I love to do. So that's maybe also what's very difficult for me. To what extent am I still able to do what's really my passion?
I will give you the answer.
Yeah.
You just don't know.
No.
You just don't know.
That's so difficult.
Yeah. Now I see something I think is interesting. You said you felt trapped in your house you bought, right?
Yeah. For a few weeks. Now I don't. But the first weeks,
you felt trapped. And also talking about having a child gives you the assumption that you will be trapped.
Yeah.
So I see a kind of interesting parallel here. Can you tell me something about you and feeling trapped? What is it with you and feeling trapped?
In a way, and that's also maybe what's interesting, and it's good that you are highlighting this.
Thank you.
Because when I moved into our new place, and I mean it's a very nice place. I love that house. I love the garden. There's a lot more nature around it. And at first, I really felt very sad and trapped, because I also had to leave behind a certain kind of life.
This was a kind of life choice too, right?
And now I'm fine with this kind of life, but that was very difficult in the beginning as well. But the funny thing is that I was quite impulsive buying this house, because I didn't really overthink it at all, actually. So that
but you
is
did feel trapped in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just asking you the same question. Yeah. So what is it with you and feeling trapped? I have the assumption it has something to do with responsibility, trying to do all things good, not making mistakes whatsoever.
Yeah.
But these are my words, and it's not about me. It's about you, of course. Unfortunately, it would be a lot easier if I were the only one sitting here at the table. Yeah. So what is it with you and the feeling being trapped? Same question.
I really like having options. So I like to be able to change whenever I would like to change my life. So if I think my life is boring at a certain time and I want to change everything, move to, I don't know, Africa or whatever. Yeah, just experience something new.
And go.
Yeah, I like things that are new as well. So I like
sorry to interrupt you, but imagine, I get the point. So imagine your life would be in a way boring and predictable in a way.
Yeah.
This would be your nightmare, right?
Yeah.
I'm hitting the nail right here. So imagine your life would be like this. And you look back.
Yeah.
How would you then evaluate your life?
If I really feel I'm stuck in the same shit, different day kind of situation.
Yeah. More than you want to. Far more than you wanted to.
Yeah.
Imagine life would be predictable and boring.
I would feel tired. And I think also beaten.
Beaten?
Yeah. Like, okay, well, this is it. Okay.
Beaten?
Yeah. So, when I plan something new, I get a lot of energy from it. And it's exciting and it's new. You don't know what's coming along. And if you exactly know what's going to be the next day, I would feel stuck, beaten, and trapped.
And what's, maybe a stupid question, but what's wrong with that? What kind of words would you use to describe this situation?
That's a very good question. And to be honest, it's also a question that I'm asking myself lately. And I'm not sure. Yeah, what is the problem?
So it's a good question.
Yeah, it's a good
question without an answer.
Yeah. I think I would still feel as if I didn't make the most out of it. As if I missed out on also a lot of things that I didn't do.
And
so the fear of missing out is maybe the best way to describe it.
Right. You missed opportunities.
Yeah.
You were trapped, and there were all these other options: B, C, D, E, F, G.
Yeah.
But you were stuck in A.
Yeah.
Right. You would feel fear of missing out.
Yeah.
So next question: what's wrong with missing options? What's wrong with this? Is there a deeper conviction lying beneath this fear of missing?
Yeah. It's really a good question.
Mm-hmm.
Difficult to answer.
There's some pause here.
I'm not sure if there's really anything wrong with it. Maybe it's just me being restlessness.
No. I don't accept this answer.
Okay.
It's
Too bad.
Sorry, you don't convince me. There's this strong desire to be adventurous, to do new things. This fear of missing things. It's not only driven by what you want, it's also driven by fear, what you don't want, a predictable,
but I don't
boring
want
life.
To be seen as.
Yeah. So how would life as a total, how would you evaluate your life being 89 years old, 90 years old, looking back at your life, how would you then evaluate your life as a whole?
Yeah. Comfortable, but boring.
Boring.
Yeah.
What's wrong with boring?
Yeah, it's just not exciting.
Of course you'd like excitement. I don't discuss this, but you never know how life will end.
Yeah.
But for you, presumably, the fear of not having an adventurous life is a strong force in your decision-making process.
Yeah.
This fear of missing this adventure. So, which I can understand, because an adventurous life is funny.
Yeah.
Although having children is the most adventurous travel journey you will ever experience.
Yeah, that's
but
the
this is an aside. This
is
an aside, right? But looking back at a life, which would be in the end predictable, comfortable, but boring, right?
Yeah.
So, what kind of judgment would you give to such a life?
Being common, maybe.
Common.
Yeah.
You don't want to be common.
No. It's not that I want to be unique, but I also don't want to be common. And it's also maybe with my decision towards having children, if I'm spending the day with mothers that are really being a mother alone and they like completely forgot about their own identity, then I feel very strong. No, I'm like, no, I don't want this. This is boring, but also too common, predictable. Yeah, but also,
like a prison. Boring life, every day the same thing. Children going to bed, not wanting to sleep, and then you have to feed them. And
you lose your identity. You are just
Let's pause here. You lose your identity. So tell me? So what identity did you lose then? So probably presumably you do have a kind of identity.
Yeah, free spirit.
You have this free spirit. Yeah. You are a free spirit soul.
Yeah.
This is who you are.
Yeah.
Which is the opposite of boring. Common. What's happening right now?
I don't know.
Are you emotional or?
Apparently.
Yeah. I see some tears. So often tears are a sign of emotions. So you say apparently.
Yeah. It's very predictable.
Can you tell me about this? What's happening right now?
Yeah. Well, to make maybe the whole problem even more complicated.
Yeah, please do so.
Is that I feel I'm also a free spirit, but I'm also worried about the state of the planet. So if I look at the world and at the planet, I'm just seeing too many people. And that's also really changing my feeling towards children, because I'm like, there are too many people. I mean, if I look at the loss of biodiversity, climate change, everything, it's just because we are with too many people. So I don't feel the primal urge to add more people to it. So if I am going to try to have a child, I will definitely stick with one. I won't feel comfortable with two. That's something that I am certain about. And I also feel like a free spirit. I care about nature. That's also why I like to travel. So also, in a way, I would feel trapped because you are more in your own house. You have a lot of carbon emissions because of this child, because he needs clothing, food, everything. So that's also something really bothering me. So it's maybe linked to being a free spirit, and not only being free in a way of I can do whatever I want, but I also really care for nature. And it feels like a contradiction to me to have a child, because it feels hypocrite in a way.
I see other contradictions too, because you want to be a free spirit, but I experience you in this conversation as a very responsible woman.
Yeah.
Making good choices.
Yeah.
Feeling trapped in a house and the mortgage, and you want to do everything very good.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you want to be a free spirit.
Yeah, maybe because I don't like to feel. I don't like to feel this responsibility, and
So how is it with you and responsibility then?
Well, also in a way, even the planet feels like my responsibility, but that's of course that's bollocks. That's a stupid idea, because there are so many people. You cannot change the world on your own. But
I
in
bought
a way,
too. So
I feel responsible.
I bought it too. So there are at least two persons. But in a way,
then maybe we can change.
But in a way, it feels like you are carrying this burden of the whole, not only your future child, and your future life, and your future inability to have a free spirit life.
Yeah.
But you also feel the burden of the planet. Yeah. And I think when we talk some 5 or 10 minutes through, that you will feel the responsibility of the complete universe too, right? So there's a lot of pressure on you.
Yeah.
It's not about only do I want to be a mother.
No.
It's about all these other things too, which make the decision even more difficult.
Yeah, and that's maybe also why if I see a mother with like a lot of children, not caring about the environment at all, and just only being a mother, I don't understand that way of living, because then I'm immediately thinking, but you also want to have a good environment for your children, right?
Let me investigate this. This is a sub-problem. Imagine that you would be the mother of a child that invented a way of changing the climate, the course of the universe, and invents things that makes the climate better. this would be a pity that this child wouldn't be born, right? So my question is, are you completely right and sure that having this one extra child on these 7 billion children really makes the planet worse, or could it make the planet better? As a philosophical, rhetorical question, right? I think the answer is that the best answer is I just don't know.
No. Yeah,
am I right?
You're never sure.
You're
but
never sure.
The thing that I am sure of is that I would feel, because like I mentioned, I like doing volunteer work. So I'm still traveling. I'm still taking the plane. I'm also doing a lot of things right. And I'm also skipping on a lot because of nature. But yeah, I'm also a hypocrite because I'm still going to Africa, for example, which is also a long
something I was thinking when I wanted to tell you.
Yeah. But now I'm like, but at least I don't have children. So at least I don't have those emissions.
So why don't you just then disappear from this earth? Wouldn't that be the best option then?
Yeah, but I like life too much.
Yeah, but you're a burden. You're a burden to the earth, aren't you?
Yeah, in a way, in a way, that's true.
So I'm sitting, looking at a woman who wants to be a free spirit, but is also carrying this heavy load of responsibility at the same time. So this is like a split person in a way.
Yeah, a lot of contradictions.
A lot of contradiction. And this split person wants to make a decision about a child, yes or no, which is quite impossible.
Good luck with that. Yeah.
So now, what is it you are thinking and feeling right now at this conversation? Where are we right now?
Yeah, I'm feeling a lot, and that's maybe also the problem because I'm always overthinking. It's also a little bit, who I am. So I do want to make a decision and just find my peace with it, if I go one way or the other. But I'm still not sure what is the best option for me to take, or what is the best decision for me to.
I'll give you the answer. Yeah. You just don't know. You just don't know. And how much you will think about it, and how much you will read about it, and how much you will talk with your friend about it. Yeah. And then you make a good choice, and you think so. And then there will be a child which is physically handicapped or whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of problems with him or her. Yeah. Could be. And then you feel trapped in a way. Yeah. But you will love this child probably, and then there will be a lot of adventure, right? Yeah. Because dealing with a lot of problems is difficult. It's a burden, but it can be an adventure too. Could be. Yeah. You could have a wonderful child, very few problems, everything going swimmingly and effortlessly. Could be. Yeah. Now, presumably, you don't become a mother. You want this adventurous life, and then your boyfriend gets sick, or there's a new corona crisis. Whatever so also this adventurous life could be the case, or it could not be the case. Yeah. So it's really a jump, a guess, an intuitive choice you have to make, and whatever choice you make, you won't make the other choice. Now, and this I'm telling you things you already know. Yeah. So now I come to the conclusion that, having listened to you, there's for you no other option that whatever you do it by intuition and not by rationality.
Yeah, and that's maybe also what I find difficult, because I know that a lot of my thoughts are based on fear, and that's never a good one to listen to. But if I'm really trying to feel what I want, there's also a mixture of feelings. So there are some days, for example, a few days ago, I had 2 days and I felt like, oh, I think I do want to have a child. And I felt a certain kind of love for a child that isn't even there. But I was like, he or she is going to be awesome. That was really what I felt. And then it's, again, completely gone. And I don't feel it for a week or a few weeks. So, my feelings are also just as indecisive as my thoughts are.
Imagine
making it difficult.
Imagine you have a baby in your arms.
Yeah.
Your child. And, of course, of your boyfriend.
Yeah.
And it has a name. It's a girl or a son. Imagine you are holding a child in your arms, and you are a mother. Can you visualize this for yourself?
To be honest, there's also a mix of thoughts or feelings. Because on one way, I think I would feel a lot of love. Yeah. And on the other hand, I'm also afraid that I would feel lost, like oh shit, now it's happening, and
I can't go back.
What to do? Yeah. And to be honest, I also thought I was pregnant. I think it's already maybe a year or 2 years ago. And the first thing that I felt was love. And I was like, oh, wow, then maybe this is my answer.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was, again, overthinking. And I was like, yeah, but is it the love for the child that I feel, or the love of knowing that at least I will make my boyfriend happy and that I will stay with my boyfriend and that I can give him what he wants as well. So I also am not always very sure of what do I feel? Do I feel the love for the child, or do I feel
I think we can
the love for him?
I think if we can establish right now, I will establish that your cognition is very good. You can think. Your rationality is okay. But your intuition on making choices on an emotional level is very fragile. Can I say so?
Yeah.
Imagine whatever choice you make, either a child or having this life where you are free, can live as a free spirit in a way. Imagine you can have both options. And imagine you are very resilient, that whatever problem comes on your path, that you are able to tackle the problem, whatever choice you make.
Yeah.
Either alive with one child, maybe two, but you have decided only one. Okay, so imagine one child with one life.
Yeah.
You are resilient. All these problems that you face, like the climate, like the earth, whatever, you can deal with this in a satisfactory way, right?
Yeah.
Or the other life. Yeah. Also being able to tackle all the problems to a level of satisfaction that you can live with.
Yeah.
Now, these two lives, can you visualize these two lives?
Yeah.
So I help you a little bit more. There is a child. It's one child. Yeah. But you can go to Africa for 2 weeks. You can have a sabbatical. You can have an extra horse, whatever. Yeah. You stay with your boyfriend and your child becomes sick, but he takes care and then you take care and you help one another out. And well, maybe there's a divorce, but you will manage with one child and he take care and whatever. And there will be a new love, whatever. Yeah. Whatever life you choose, there will be problems, right? Yeah. So, but you manage these problems in a way with a child. And the other life, without a child, you can travel, and there are difficulties between you and your friend. Maybe you'll divorce, but maybe you'll stay together, whatever. But you can tackle these problems too. Yeah. So imagine there would be no fear. Yeah. In your current situation. Imagine you could make a fearless decision. So you were not driven by fear, but you were driven by desire. Yeah. What would be, in this case, the best option?
I think what I'm feeling with having a child and still doing what I love to do, I feel love. Mm-hmm. Still, there's a very big part of me afraid.
Yeah, but I said it was a fear. It was a fearless life, right? So you did experience fear, but you were able to tackle the fear, to live with the fear, to create something new out of the fear. The fear would help you to create a better life. So fear isn't in my scenarios, both fear is absent, right? And if it's there, you will be able to transform it, to flip think it. It will help you make a next step. Yeah. Again, how would you then evaluate both choices?
I do feel more love for the one with the child. And more, but relief. But that's also maybe linked to fear. So I need to really leave out fear. That's difficult. It's difficult.
You're a fear-driven person, right?
Yeah, maybe.
No, not maybe. Surely.
Not with all situations, but with this one,
you feel a lot of responsibility. You're very afraid to make the wrong choices. And this is not stupid, because people can make wrong choices. But making no choice whatsoever can be a wrong choice too. And this is your prison, your dilemma. Yeah. This is why you are here. So you just said, I do feel more love with the scenario with a child.
Yeah, the other one still feels a little bit like a shallow kind of life. Yeah. Without. Yeah. And that's maybe also why I cannot close the window on the whole child situation. Because the other situation also feels shallow, superficial.
So could you say that in a way, deciding not to have a child is in a way the option where you take less risks? Yeah. It's the safe one. Yeah. And the funny thing is, you described having a child as the boring, safe life.
Yeah.
But now, having skipped fear out of the dilemma, suddenly the reverse occurs.
Yeah.
That in a way, having this adventurous life is boring because it's in a way predictable. Well, I am father of 3 sons. I can tell you one thing.
Yeah.
When you decide to have children and when the children are there, life isn't predictable at all. This would be the biggest adventure in your life because you can decide to go to Africa or Egypt or Tunisia or whatever, or you just don't go. You go 2 weeks or 3 weeks. But when you have a child in your house, a lot of options will be made for you because children have their own dynamics.
Yeah,
and this is an adventure too. Yeah,
yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah,
but it's also what I find difficult in a way when choosing to try to have children because I'm also sometimes afraid that I will be too selfish, still wanting to do my own stuff.
There's fear again. We just skipped fear out of the discussion. So, could be. Yeah. Could be not. I don't know.
Yeah.
One thing I can establish, if fear is your biggest advisor, you are stuck in a situation, you won't make any choice at all, and this will lead to a life without children.
Because you will keep on postponing.
Right. And until you can have children anymore because the biology won't work with you, right?
Yeah.
So I think this might sound a little bit strange. I think you know what you want.
Yeah, maybe.
This feels scary, doesn't it, when I say so? Because you know what I think you want, right?
Yeah.
I think you want to become a mother, only you're scared of doing so. This is it. Now, I don't want to push you into being a mother, but listening to these words out of my mouth, and it's my mouth, it's me talking to you, how do they land? How do you listen to my words? And I repeat them, just feel them. I have the assumption, the conviction that deep down, where you lead a life not driven by fear, but by desire, it's scary, it's a lot of responsibility, a lot of things can go wrong. This is all true, but this is what you deeply desire.
Yeah, maybe surprisingly, that's it. And it's strange because I always thought that I figured myself out. I always thought that I knew myself very well. Maybe I don't. Maybe this is really what I desire. And I need to get used to that idea, maybe as well. Because it's different from what I thought I was. Because I never saw myself as a mother. I still, in a way, don't. But somehow I also cannot.
You can block it.
No,
you're not 100%
it's still
sure.
Bugging me. Yeah.
So does this the distinction between choices driven by fear or choices driven by desire? Does this distinction help you?
Yeah, because I know fear is not the answer. It's not going to give me the answer. It's only going to postpone the situation.
Yeah.
To a certain point where
you will lead a life you fear.
Biology
you don't
is catching up on me.
I know this fantastic story about a guy in Romania. I read it in the newspaper. It seemed to be true. I don't know. I didn't check it, but I read it in the newspaper. He said he was able to predict his own day of death.
Yeah.
Because he was an astrologist or whatever. He thought he could, right? I don't think we can, but he thought he could. Yeah. So what did he do? What did he do? You can predict what he did. Yeah. He locked himself into his bedroom and stayed there for the day. And so I thought, whatever danger might occur, I'm in my bedroom, nothing can happen to me.
Yeah.
And then a big chunk of chalk from the ceiling fell down on his head and he died. Yeah. So the funny thing is, by trying to escape his death, he found death.
Yeah.
So for you, it could be by trying to escape a boring life, your life will be boring.
Yeah.
So fear is an important. Fear is a good advisor. You have to listen to fear, and it's good to be responsible. If you buy a house, you did it a kind of impulse, and you felt the responsibility, but you managed, right? So, but it's stupid to buy a house where you and then you feel trapped in having to maintain a job you don't want because you need the money to pay for the mortgage or whatever. So fear is a good advisor, but in the end, fear is a good friend, and listen to it. It's a critical friend, but fear holds you back. Fear doesn't help you to make choices. Fear holds you back to make choices. But it's good. It's not bad. And this is why you are trapped 6 years between fear and desire.
Yeah.
But hopefully in the end, we don't lead a life driven by fear, because then we end up doing nothing.
Yeah.
And hopefully in the end, we are able to live a life based on desire.
Yeah.
So the core question for you is, what's your biggest desire? And hopefully this question will give you a clear answer. And we have looked into this, and now it tends to be you want to be a mother, but you have done 6 years thinking about this. So I don't want to press you within 45 minutes, or I don't know how we are talking, into making this choice. But hopefully this conversation will help you to either decide, okay, no children at all. This is what I want. Okay, children, this is what I want.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's about desire.
Yeah.
So now, having listened to this monologue from my part, how does this resonate? How do you feel?
Yeah, I think it really makes sense. I need to, really look at what is my desire, and leave fear out of it. Mm-hmm. And I definitely am not going to make the decision based on this conversation alone, but I will.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Definitely
That's a pity.
let it sink in. And I think when I let it sink in, because I also didn't plan anything this weekend, because I think that silence is also sometimes doing a lot. Mm-hmm. So I will definitely try to listen to what my feeling does.
I would say what my desire
when
is.
I let it sink in.
What my desire is. And let fear be your advisor. And let desire be the criterion on which you decide in the end.
Yeah. Wow.
All the best for you, and we'll stay in touch.
Yeah.
Well, you've waited for 6 years.
Yeah.
So 4 days, we can easily add up 4 days. But 4 months or 4 years, that's too long. So what's a good deadline for you? With what deadline do you feel comfortable? I will give you a deadline.
Yeah.
Because you have a deadline. Your body has one.
Yeah.
So help your body. What's a good deadline?
Maybe...
Because whatever you choose, it's a choice. It's a jump. You have to jump, whatever you choose. So what's a good deadline for the jump?
Well, it's funny because in a way I thought, okay, maybe after the holiday in June, so end of June. But then maybe I'm also still postponing.
June.
No, so then, after the weekend.
So when you get up Monday morning,
I know,
sitting at breakfast with your boyfriend, then you will tell him what your choice is.
Yeah.
This gives a lot of pressure, doesn't it? Yeah. Does this help, giving yourself a deadline?
Because postponing is also the problem.
You're very good in postponing. If I need somebody to postpone, I will find you.
Oh, yeah.
You're
it's
great
safe
help.
With me.
Yeah.
No, I think it's good to make a decision.
Monday morning, sitting at the breakfast table with your boyfriend, then you'll tell him what your choice is.
Yeah, or Sunday morning, because then we still have
the Sunday to
the day
to celebrate
to
whatever the choice would be. Yeah. You don't know.
No.
Yeah. Well, that's an adventure.
Yeah.
You want to have an adventurous life. Now the coming days are an adventure.
Yeah.
This is the choice of your life, my dear.
Yeah, it's big.
Do you now again to the 70-year-old you?
Yeah.
She is looking at you for these coming days. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And now we have agreed for now that Sunday morning you will make a decision.
Yeah.
What advice can she give you for these coming days?
Don't try to hide or try to, I don't know, watch movies,
don't run
on
away.
The internet, but just sit down.
Relax, do nothing, take a deep breath.
break. And
drink a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Look out of the window.
Yeah. And see what you desire.
Right. So all the coming days are all and only and exclusively about this choice.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it makes me nervous.
Wow, me too.
No, but it's a challenge. You want an adventurous life, right?
Yeah.
Now you have an adventurous upcoming days in front of you.
Yeah.
All the best for you and all the luck for you. And
thank you.
We'll stay in touch. And I'm very curious.
Me too.
Curious. Yeah.
Thank you for the conversation.
Yeah, with all my love.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wondering how our guest is doing these days? Well, we recently caught up with him. Stay tuned to hear their latest update.
Hello. So it has been a couple of months since I was in the studio. And to be honest, I feel a lot more relaxed compared to when I was in the studio. I was still very emotional in the studio. And to be honest, it has been a roller coaster ever since. But what I really learned from the conversations I had was that I really had to, basically try to ignore my fears because that's eventually not gonna give me an answer. But that I really had to listen to what I wanted in the future. And does that involve having a child, or doesn't it involve having a child? And to be honest, when I left the studio, I really thought that I wanted to have a child. But basically, it seems that I want to have a child. So basically, I was forcing something. At least that's what I feel like. Because I don't want to lose my boyfriend, because I felt guilty as well, because I'm basically standing in the way of my boyfriend's desire to have a child. So as long as he's staying with me, of course, he's not able to have a child. So yeah, that was very difficult. And I think that based on that and based on the fear of losing him, I tried to force something that isn't there. And it has been a process, because at first I didn't know what to feel. Yeah, it was very difficult to decide what my feelings involve. But I really tried to listen to what kind of future is ahead of me, what kind of future is what I want to be ahead of me. And at the moment, it's not having a child. I think, and that was maybe also the main question that really helped me. So if I was living in a world where my current boyfriend didn't have a wish to raise children, and I was also living in a world where it was as normal to not have a child or want to have a child as it is to have children, then I would probably not have so many doubts. So that's actually giving me the answer that I was seeking for, that it's not really within me, but it's really based on, what society wants or what is believed to be normal. Of course, it's also based on what my boyfriend wants. So that question really helped me a lot. It was difficult, of course, to talk about it with my boyfriend. And to be honest, I'm still not sure if our relationship is going to survive. I'm also not sure what I will feel, for example, next year. Maybe there are some feelings developing to try to have a baby. But as long as I don't feel that it's really within me, I'm just not going to jump into that big of a risk. It really helped me. And to be honest, I feel a lot more relaxed as well. Now that I'm really listening to what I want, even though it's scary, because it's scary to be different as well. Yeah. So it really helped me, and I really want to thank you for having me over. It was such a nice and pleasant conversation, and thank you so much for the insights that helped me make a decision. So thanks again. Have a wonderful day.